Hey, people, I'm fixing to prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that all Egyptologists are the stupidest people in the world. They've got all the religions beat. Nobody in all of history has ever put some wax cone made out of perfumes and myrrh and mixtures of oils and resins and fats. Nobody has ever put this on top of their head and thought it was a good enough idea that they would do it a second time. So we're going to go to the school of men, and that's what this represents. And it just it's censorship of pornography is what it represents. It's going to fit right along here with my last movie, The Manna, which is very controversial itself, but it's only getting likes because YouTube is only giving that to people who they really think is going to like it. But they had decided this god, men, he had done become a menace. And so our idea of God isn't the same as theirs. When I say God, I mean a word. He's an epithety, and everything that you could fit in men, as you'll see in the writings, in the Greek and in the Hebrew. And this is where they get mena from. But it plainly says man in the Greek and in the Hebrew. It's just the and then mn. And you see the vowel points underneath the M, but nothing after the N. There is nothing after the N. It's just a man. You know, when the sons of Israel ate the manna, it's actually a fag on to man. You know, they was fagging on men. And all the epitheters that go with it, you know, it's the menace. It's what wakes you up in the morning. It don't matter if you're a man or a woman, you know. I like it in the morning. I wake up with a heart on. This is the awakening. Represents an awakening. And so his biggest day was before the flooding of the Nile. He was the god of fertility. You know, he was the bull of his mother. He came before the cart, you know, and became before the parade. He was the first one. God of lettuce, latex, and semen. He wore the crimson cross of Osiris. And you see here under his censorship some of the symbols of the most honorary and holy things. But then come his censorship. A lot of people think this is a blowjob. But what it's doing is she's biting it off. It's replacing this symbol for this symbol up here. And so this min is the symbol of fertility. And back in the day before so much censorship, I used to pull up another image that looked more like this and with the whole parade and the blowjob. But you can see that's what's going on top of the head. And nobody ever thought this was a good idea and did it twice. But what it does mean is manna in the desert. What's for dessert? You know, the first time they see this, back around the 13th century BC, during the time of hats, if suit, what the hat you wear, which was, you know, back around the same time they claim was the Exodus. So now that I alienated all the Egyptologists, let me alienate all the rest of my viewers. You know, all you Christians, Muslims, and Jews are going to hate this. Some of you are going to try to block it out of your mind the rest of your life. Some of you are going to hate it until you think about it and realize that it's the true fact. But this is Exodus 16, where I was reading about men before. You see it here, and men. He's talking to you. You are men he's talking to. But both of these lines here in the Hebrew and the Greek are both they're gay men. And here this is a raw, R-A-U-C-Y, Rossi. Rossi is somebody who's got a raspy voice. That chick show got a raspy voice. And Rossi, you went in. Ye, W-E-N-T-N. Rossi, you went in. You know, that's a dude look like a lady. You know, she show got a raspy voice. You know, Rossi, red, you know, irritated. You know, a scratchy throat, Rossi. And Rossi, you went in, oh, come his butt. All can the wanton. the wanton. E is the, and W-A-N-T-N, the wanton. And so this word for he, this is he, she, or it. This is the word for Eve, E-V-A, Eva. And all can the wanton'll come by a messy, There's a new writing, it's ECCI, and it's a prostitution website where Johns and hookers write about their escapades. And it used to be done on the bathroom wall. And the guy that knew about this, he'd explain it to me that they got the word Essie from the sixth day in the Hebrew Bible, Essie. And I think it's just like a essay, to write a little bit about it. And so what it is if you're a John, you can go on there and you can find local hookers. And other Johns that's been with them will write the story about them. And then once somebody has written a story about you, you can claim that story and take that page. And that'll give you free advertisements. So if you're traveling, you can put these advertisements in the cities you'll be in. And so hookers can travel on this. And so guys can get with them and they know they're not going to get robbed. They know these are professionals. They know what to expect for their money. And the hooker's going to feel safer, because they know that he's got a page and he writes it. And they call them hobbyists. The hobby is what it's called. And you'll see that in the Hebrew. And when it says, and he is not your father's brother, he is your hobby. An escort goes out with an old man. And it's a play on hubby. It's not your hubby, it's your hobby. And then over here in the Greek, it says the same thing in a different way. And it's the ID is the hand. The I is the hand in Hebrew, and the D is the hand in Egypt. And the Yod, the ID, is the hand in Hebrew. The Yod and Etta. And Etta is a loaf of bread. Etta is the feminine. The Yod, Etta. This Etta here, this is this loaf of bread over here. It's added to the feminine of the name, and it's the same name, and they just add the loaf of bread and an egg. And so the hand feminine, the Yod Etta, the hand feminine, Adgar. This is when your car says your door ajar. That's what that means. And it actually comes from char, and of char. Char means to turn. As in something's charred, it's turning red, then it's turning black. And to keep it from charring, you turn it ajar. And the hand feminine ajar, turn. The carry as said all in. The hand etta, the feminine hand of turned. To walk like an Egyptian. The most famous Egyptian of all, the march from Egypt. The walk. And so I believe the Greek term for this is the savvy attitaten comer on totten. Tutankhamun and unnotten and a savvy attaitan, wise at eating, wise, savvy at, knowing at, and eight, the eight income her on totten. Wise and the eat on comer of totten. Eating the dick of men. A men savvy a taten a comer on totten. And Yod Edda, the feminine hand ajar of turn. The carry as said all in. The K before the E is a L. As said all in. Has said all in 'em in savvy, in wise, at eatin' come her on taughtin'. Teaching her how to eat come. And due to what a oughta said all in, meant him here a thest. And due to, this is a D-U-T-O, on account of this, because of this, due to what that's redneck, and because of this I, and due to what should have, oughta said, should have said all in. And because of what should have said all in, mint him here a test. And so, a mint, your breath ain't too sweet. This is across from the Essie over here in by messy. But over here, it's a mint him here a test. A test, this is like, it's an unsolicited confession. A test, a THECT. Like Thessalonians, is letters that weren't requested. Paul's opinion. And R2 was due. This is the same thing as due to. The IA is a U, is due to on account of this, because of. And this is why, and because of this, and a mint come her a test. R2 was, because of due of come her on cat is asked. Because of what she does, she be needing a mint. But just like the Hebrew, this word's all multiple, and bread loaves, that's what she came for. She came to the pantry to get some bread, and she ends up having to suck the dick of the Khan, the priest. And R2 was due, what we owed. We had to pay 2 loaves of bread for a blowjob. Ancient story of Jesus feeding 5,000 with 2 loaves of bread, 2 loaves each. Yod at a jar carry as said all in 'em, in savvy it ate in comer untaughten. Due to what oughta said all in, a mint him here a test, or to us do, a comer on cat is asked. The cast is his to us a cow's in. A couple movies ago I was talking about the Zuni, and sometimes it's mixed up with your cousin, and sometimes it's mixed up with the cows in, and the cousin was a maybe, and the cows in was a sure thing. And the cast has his to us the cows in was a sure thing. They were starving to death. They were needing 2 loaves of bread. 4 have 2 by himself, all for his. 4 have 2 medicine on. I got your medicine right here. The medicine, and the N followed by the E is of pronounces a V. The medicinum of, the medicine of, and accept, like accept, ECPO, a sepper who is to, a sepper who is to, the one that is going to accept it, the one getting the bread, she's going to accept it in her mouth. And that's the symbolism in the Catholic Church. You go up there and they place the min in your mouth. And the night before, all the priests done masturbated in this bin, and they cooked up these wafers out of it. And ektu, and from out of his cock, from out of his ektu, that sticky stuff, ektu. And ektu atop of, out of, right up on top of your head. The comer a thief, a THEVDOM, the comer of thievedom. Comer of thievedom means I stole your meaning, and now the mint on top of her head now means fertile, and comer of thievedom, and the ectu in this sticky stuff, atop of, out of the comer thievedom. And the savvy at his in allows and lets it happen, allows the come her a thievedom. The one knowing, the savvy it is in, the one knowing allows. So I color coded several places in this Exodus 16 where it's talking about the men, and you see that's what they said it means. What is it? What it is. And this is the word MN here. And you see across from it in the Greek, it's the testy. It's the testicle. It plainly says that when we named it, the name of it, man. And it was like the seed. It was like a spermaculation. And the taste of it was pastry with honey, and the DE, that's the it, it, and it gummy. It's gummy. The first A reads as a Y, the double A here, and it gummy of two was, and it was gummy and inchryssenmility. Inchryssenmility is when you pull it out and squirt all over her face, Inchryssenmility. The humility is where that comes from. Man cannot live on bread alone. You have to have a little protein with that. And so God rained from the heavens some protein. And I think this movie will get too long, but I'm going to start reading close to the top of this story, the next movie. About a took a top a woman is this draws of cycle. The laundry lady, you done got on top of the laundry lady is what it's talking about. And so this camp here, it isn't talking about a camp of people that were ran out of Egypt. This is a far them ball on. And a far them means the away team going to play ball. Ancient word they say means war. The far them ball on. And so the camp of the enemy, the ones that are traveling come to your city, that camp. And the collapse it in far them ball on, the collapse and taking down this camp and moving to the next. And she was known as the whore to go met her. The whore to go met her, like Toys R Us, and you buy the whore to go, the place where you pick up a whore to go, drive through window to met her. So the reason when it sounds like it's talking about a woman, but the translation says it's talking about a man, is because version. This is the word of the week. Everybody thinks they know what version means, but it's a turn. Version is a turn. They turned. If the title of your Bible says version, it means it's been changed. It's been turned over. It's a copy of something that has been changed slightly. The act of turning or change. To change direction, to turn. The story is King James wasn't too straight, so he would be the King James ajar. Nobody ever believes this story. I had to tell my brother at Thanksgiving, if your God is a dude that was agape for 12 other men, you done became addicted to the cracker. King James wasn't a slight change. King James totally moved the words. This isn't spirit. Spirit is over here. And to come a spirited, the D is the T and the T is the D. A spirited is a file had help us. A file, the love, a pedophile. That's hands on, and had help, our brother, the one that helped us. And the IA reads the U, a US. And come as spirited is file had help us. Of crew in, OV, of crew, CHREW, the crew, and the N reading is N followed by the E is a B, but still N, and it means IN, of a crew in each it, and all of them, they're self-feminine, etta, in each it, and the G, reading as an N after this E here, in each it, in refine, for me to write. They give me a bunch of crap, and I refine it, and refine them in charamize, auditurnamize, the audidactestes to. The audidactestes to on gap on, a gap on all of loves. All of loves, everybody. Man, woman, gays too. All of God loves, everybody. And so a theodidactesty is, that's something that only homosexuals and doctors know. Some doctors do it with their finger, some do it with a big old Q-tip. But they can stick it up your ass and you'll come instantly. You've been autoed, where that comes from. And the dac, the dacty, that's your finger. So, Jesus says, thou shalt stick a finger in her ass while you licking that pussy. And this was taught by God. And I have no idea. I just pulled up to this page because I knew it had a gape on it, to love is wide open, a gape. And I haven't even read around here. I have no idea what this is talking about. But that's what it appears to be. I'm going to cut this off here. Happy New Year. Good day.